Did it start? All right. Welcome in, Buffs Nation. Another edition of S2S Colorado Live. As always, I'm your host, Manny. Again, I do appreciate each and every one of you. I'm not sure. All right, welcome in, Buffs Nation, to another edition of S2S Colorado Live. As always, I'm your host, Manny. Not sure what happened tonight. The internet here is down. I'm using a different internet from one of our neighbors. So yeah, shout out to the neighbor. You know who you are. I'm not sure what's going on. So hopefully, I'm coming through clear. Hopefully, everything you guys can hear. So if you can't, please let me know. But yeah, welcome in. Make sure to give me a follow as always. Manny _ 303 on X, on IG at 303 _ Manny. And then at the bottom of the screen too, you guys can see, all that information is posted. Make sure to check out our Colorado shop there on the bottom as well. And I put on there shows live at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So make on Mondays. We're also going to be sending. I'm going to be doing daily videos, so please check those out. It'll be about 5-10 minutes just to kind of update on anything I'm hearing, any new news that has come out, anything like that. But again, as always, do appreciate you. Please let me know too if this is not coming through clearly. Just having some internet problems, it sounds like, here in the Denver area. So, but yeah, it's been a long time since we spoke last. So thank you all for joining us tonight. And, I was going through, we had talking about the team pre-portal, and oh yeah, missed you guys. Yeah, Chad's with us. Do appreciate you, Chad. Yeah, missed you too, man. But yeah, it's been a couple weeks. Enjoyed the holiday break. Hopefully all of you guys had a good holiday season. And that show that was made pre-portal, I want to call it, before it opened up. Yeah, just know though that I got a lot of comments and stuff like, you're not aware, you don't know what's going on. Those were made pre-portal before all those, basically the whole team entered the portal. So please understand that some of these videos are clipped at the time of recording them. None of that has happened. It is released, it's set to release at a certain time. So again, I did know Carde at the point of the video, Carde Smith, Chauncey Gooden, Amari Miller, everybody, Tawfiq Bayard, didn't know at that point. They were not even in the portal at that point. So they are in the portal now. And again, nothing we can do about it. So, I think moving forward, that episode probably should wait till post portal or maybe around this time. But as you guys have seen, the Buffs have been active. So it has been a week that in the last couple weeks in Boulder, it has been busy. It has been crazy. And let's dive into this though. Let's start with Ralphie Report. So our news and notes of the day. Oh my gosh, yeah, this internet is moving crazy slow. So Colorado, they've hired a new athletic director coming from New Mexico, Fernando Lovo. He is the new AD. And I think that this is probably the most important AD hire in Colorado history. And again, it's not that, things are going bad or anything like that. That is not the case. It is just diving into this new era of collegiate athletics, right? With NIL and agents and all of these different things. It is, you need a ton of business acumen when you are in this role now, right? It is unbelievable what this turned into, right? So yeah, so this is the most important because this is going to be that one that either springboards the Buffs into the future or, the one that basically, doesn't keep up with the times. And again, I have full faith in the University of Colorado. They hired the right person for the job. Really exciting. He's coming from New Mexico. He signed a 5-year contract with the University of Colorado. It is $1.2 million per year. So this is the highest paid AD in Colorado history. So again, hopefully he does a fantastic job. I feel like I probably should have got into the athletic director business at some point. Never too late though, but $1.2 million per year. What he did hold a press conference. What he did say was, so hopefully this pops up. So I'm honored to join this incredible group of student athletes, coaches, and staff at a tremendous institution that strives for excellence and espouses the right values. We are in a time of extraordinary change in college athletics, and Colorado should lead the way in shaping what comes next. I look forward to helping our student athletes succeed in every aspect of their lives while bringing championships to Buff Nation. So again, hopefully he can do a fantastic job. Hopefully this is a seamless transition. Rick George was fantastic, turned the Colorado football program around, and I don't want to say full athletics, but Colorado's on the map now. And again, what Rick George did with the hiring of Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, it's can't be overstated how much that completely shifted Colorado football, and the university. So this is I think it's a great hire. It's a big time hire, and we'll see. Give it a couple years and see where we're at the end of it. Now, portal news. So this is the big news right now. Whole team was lost. I think I saw at one point it was Pecco was the only defensive lineman on the roster at one point, scholarship, I should say, on the roster. And right, it looked bleak. It looked bad for a minute there. I did see this thing where it is 31%, and this was as of yesterday morning, right? And kids are still entering the portal. 31.5% of college football is in or entered the portal. I would, assuming that number is up from that 31.5%, but that is a large number, right? This is just the new times here in college football. This is what it is, right? How long do kids have to? So Humble Texan has a question. How long do kids have to enter the portal? So I believe it's open from January 2nd through January 16th. So 2 weeks, and you enter in that time and have to commit by January 16th. Unless your team is in the playoffs, you get a 5-day window after your team is eliminated or wins the championship to enter the portal. So again, it is not done. You are going to expect, the Final Four we have left with Indiana, Oregon, Ole Miss, and I'm missing one. Miami. So those 4 teams, those players still have 5 days left, 5 days after the completion of their season to enter the portal, if it doesn't indeed take place after January 16th. So, and I do think if it's like January 12th or 13th, there's still a 5-day window that it goes past. So they still have time to enter. But I think too, what has to be understood here is that there used to be 2 portals, so it didn't seem as rapid or crazy. There's 1 portal now, right? And that is right now, and kids are entering and signing or whatever it may be. And I know my guy Miles had something really cool today, and this is something we talked about, is you have some of these kids are getting some bad advice, right? By agents or whomever it may be, saying, you can make, you're a Power 4 conference player. And at the end of the day, sometimes that's not the case. It's just getting some bad, I don't even know if advice is the right word, some guidance on it. You got to be careful with it, right? Because this is their kid's future. And sometimes you're at a Power 4 program, and maybe they oversold you on something, and now you are in, you're moving into like a FCS, and no disrespect there, or a D2 school. So again, just make sure we understand that as well. There's a ton of players now entering the portal. Now, to Colorado, players so far, the signings so far, you have defensive linemen. So as of this afternoon, and again, things have probably changed at some point. I think I have a couple more that I have added that we're going to look at. But you have defensive lineman Dylan Manuel from Appalachian State. And again, we're going to dive into all of this, each one of these players that have signed. And when I was able to find some PFF scores for them that were posted. So I'm going to, or that are on PFF. So finally bit the bullet and subscribe there to bring that to the show here. But defensive lineman, Dylan Manuel, Appalachian State. Defensive back, Nathan Mitchell, New Mexico State. Edge, so I hope I do not mess this name up, but Balasama Kamara, University of Albany. Running back, Jaquil Smith, Sac State. Wide receiver, Danny Scudero, San Jose State. Running back, Damian Henderson, Sac State. Edge, Yamil Talib, Charlotte. So this is, Yamil is a nephew, I want to say, of Aqib Talib, so former Bronco and, however many else teams he played for. And then right back up to Danny Scudero, San Jose State. He was a semifinalist for the Biletnikoff Award. Edge, Lamont Lester Jr. out of Monmouth. Wide receiver, Cam Perry out of Miami. Edge, Toby Anine, I think is North Dakota State. And I think I had a couple more. Linebacker, Emmanuel Izogu, out of James Madison, and I want to say that is it so far. I could have missed. I could have missed a bunch too, because as you guys know, Colorado has a whole roster to fill out right now. So again, there's going to be a lot of names here that probably aren't going to be reported that we're going to say, well, who is this kid, or who is this person? And when spring ball comes around, because it is going to be really hard to track every single Colorado signee through the portal. Now, Domesticallys, hope all is well, man. Hopefully you had a good holiday season. But portal is great for agents and for colleges doing rebuilding from graduation of NFL, etc. Yeah, it is. It's a gift and a curse, right? Some of these colleges, and the Buffs got bit by it, right? This past year, they didn't pick the right guys in the portal, and it is. It is what it is, but it's, you're playing with fire every year when this is the case. I don't know how they fix it. I had an idea where I said that maybe you need to do, like, if you stay at a school for 4 years, you get a 5th year. I'm not sure what they do to fix it. And I'm for the portal, so do not get me wrong, but it is hard to know the roster every single year. This is going to be tough. Spring ball is going to be different. We're going to have to figure some things out. Might even see if I can put some boots on the ground there for spring practices and, get out there to Boulder. But it is going to be tough. This roster overturn is really difficult. And of course, when you have the season like Colorado had, these are the kind of things that are going to come up. Right? You're going to have to replace some players. The good players are going to leave, and you got to play those young guys. You have to at this point. They all want to play. I even saw today quarterback Hassan Longstreet, 5-star that committed to USC last year out of Corona, California. Earlier today, I got a thing that said that he is looking at entering the portal because Jada Mayava, and again, we talked about this, signed a couple weeks ago to return. So Hassan Longstreet wants to play, and they may lose Longstreet to the portal. And again, that is just the reality of where we are in college football. USC signed 35 kids out of high school this past, National Signing Day. And again, how many of those kids actually finish at USC? I would even say that number now is less than 50% that, Prime said a couple years ago. I would guess somewhere around 20, maybe not that, 30%, somewhere around there. But it is, it's a lot. It's a lot. It is a whole different ball game now. Let's see. Humble Texan has a question here, if I can get it to pop up. Oh boy. So Humble Texan's question is, again, sorry about the internet. It is moving slow today. One player. Oh, here it is. Humble Texan said, one player's commit. Is that it? Like, they can't jump it in the portal and shop a better deal? No, they can. I like the better. Once you commit to a school and sign, you cannot get out of that till next year. And again, that's if you want to continue playing football. But once you sign that letter of intent, so the LOI, you're locked in. You're locked in at the school for the time being, right? For a full calendar year. There is no other portal season. Again, these kids, though, they can walk away from the program if they want to. But again, it is Who would want to do that, right? These kids are, good to go to college, getting played to play football, right? A dream come true, right? Um, so yeah, no, they can't go shop a better deal once they're in the portal. But next year around this time, they absolutely can jump in the portal and find a better deal, and that is what you're seeing, right? Amari and Miller, right, went to Arizona State, right, and again, I'm not sure how many saw that. O is landing there, and again, I got wind of that. I knew that was happening once he entered the portal. So I should say, even before he was in the portal, I knew he would end up at Arizona State. And Sam Levitt's gone. They don't have a plan at quarterback as of right now. Have not went and checked the portal, but as of right now, Arizona State doesn't have a quarterback. So with Amari and Miller, who's throwing in the ball, but I will say he has a reported $2 million to play wide receiver there at Arizona State. So again, yes, they can shop a better deal, but it won't be till next year, December, once, November, December, once the season's over. Yeah, Chad Bolton, S6K, says, looks like the offense is going to be fire. How's the defense looking? Man, offense is going to light it up. I mean, and again, there is more on the way, Moore, on the way, so catch my drift there. Former 4-star wide receiver, was at Texas, and he's one that we're talking about. He's on the way, and again, right, as far as my understanding is, again, nothing set in stone, but they have the Buffs have a lot of visitors coming, and it is a lot of that firepower on offense. And one of the things we will talk about once we break down, the signing actual breakdowns, I think there's going to be a shift in base defense, and again, we'll talk about that, but I don't think they're going to be running a 4-3 as much, and it kind of shows by the type of edge and big body players that they're signing. That is what it looks like right now, and I can just tell you that, and some of the information I've gotten has said that as well. So we'll see. We'll break that down a little bit more as we get there, but tons of they're moving and grooving in Boulder right now. They are really getting after it. Portal is in full swing, and again, it has to be for Colorado they got to build a roster. And again, the part that I don't like is that they open this next season, right? And again, I know we are January 5th right now. We are so far away from August, 7 months away, right? But they open in Atlanta at Georgia Tech, and yeah, I don't know what that's going to look like, but they're going to have to really start to gel a whole new team together. And again, hopefully they are able to gel and able to play some ball and get it together. Let's see. Domestically G12 said we need that high-end middle linebacker to QB the defense. Safety shouldn't be leading in tackles. Yeah, never. And that was one of the things we talked about. Tawfiq Byer led the team in tackles. That is never a good sign. It means they got to the second level a lot. And I share this story constantly. I remember growing up. So again, I'm not a Bronco fan, but one of my friends, I think his name was Eric Brown, was the safety for the Broncos. He had like 20 tackles in a game, and everybody was pumped. I was like, that is not a good that's not a good sign. That is meaning that the running back or whomever got to the second level a lot, or you were giving up a lot of receptions at that point. So again, you never want that to happen. It means you're second level. Now the middle linebacker, the defense, they need to address that. That is a huge need. We'll see what they do with that. I know that where was it? They just signed a new, so there's a couple. Emmanuel from James Madison. And then let's go over some of the visits so far, again, as of this afternoon that I have heard about. Again, nothing, they have not signed, not what I'm saying, but it is more of, this is just what I heard. Who is visiting. So we'll start upcoming visits. So running back CJ Baxter, 6'1", 216 pounds, 5-star running back from Texas. So I would really, really look into, the why he's in Texas, right? Because we know that that's where our guy Brennan Marion came from. And again, that go-go offense is very, very heavily favors the running back. So that is one to keep an eye on. Wide receiver DeAndre Moore Jr. that I was talking about, 5'11", 188 pounds from Texas, 4-star portal and 4-star coming out. Really excited. My hope is that they can sign both of these two. I believe it is tomorrow or possibly Wednesday that they are. They'll be in Boulder in the state of Colorado. Linebacker Gideon Lampin. So Gideon ESPN Lampin. So he's from Bowling Green, 6 foot, 220 pounds, 3-star portal, very good player. I haven't had a ton of time to dive into the film yet on these kiddos. But once they actually sign is when we'll get there. Another cornerback, Justin Eaglin, 6'2", 170 pounds from JMU, 3-star portal. My understanding is he's going to sign. So kind of what I'm gathering and hearing. So we'll see what comes of that. Edge, Anthony Jones, 6'5", 265 pounds. So please remember that size, 6'5", 265 pounds. Edge from UCLA. In the 2024 cycle, he was rated as the number 4 JUCO prospect. So again, want to keep our eyes on D-line, Ezra Christensen, 6'2", 280 pounds from New Mexico State. Transfer portal is a 3-star. Another edge. So this kid, Andrew Zock, 6'2", 250 pounds from Mercer. He is FCS All-American and Defensive Player of the Year. So this would be a big get. I am really hopeful the Buffs can sign him. Let's see what domestically said. I just happened to be on a USC fan site and they were talking about ESPN. Yeah, if the Buffs can get him, this would be a really big get for them. I am I would be extremely excited for him. They need, as much talent as they can get on this side of the ball. And another thing to pay attention to, which we will, we'll talk about after, we got that whole class, but what the Buffs really targeted was they needed playing time and they needed film, right, on each player. Like I believe, I want to say around, I think it was somewhere around 400, 500 snaps that players needed to get to Boulder, right? And, it's not the cool thing to do or the real, lack of better word, the sexy thing to do to go get these FCS, these players. But you guys really honestly go look at Indiana's roster. They did not absolutely hammer the portal. They didn't, they weren't star chasing. And again, that's where the Buffs seemed to get in some trouble last year. They are going after production and, players that have some film on them. So look for that and going after players. So if you look up snaps on any of these players, guarantee you just about most of them, if not all of them, have around that 500 snaps mark. So yeah, make sure to take a look at that. Just something to keep your eye on. Another edge, MJ Stroud, 6'2", 235 pounds from Georgia Southern. He'll be visiting. Edge, Jordan Norman, 6'4", 250 pounds from Tulane, 3-star portal. Edge, David Onuba, 6'1", 240 pounds from UMass, 3-star portal. I like this one a lot. Cornerback, Cree Thomas, 6'1", 189 pounds from Notre Dame, 3-star portal. So again, these are guys that are visiting this week. Safety, Michael Richard, 5'11", 185 pounds from Louisiana Tech, Conference USA Freshman of the Year in 23, and second team All-Conference USA in 2024. And then one that I just saw maybe about, 40 minutes ago was quarterback Caden Pinnock of UC Davis. He visited Colorado today. He was the Big Sky Freshman of the Year, threw for around 3,200 yards, 32 touchdowns, and also ran for 437 yards. So it is a busy week, and these are just the ones that are reported. Again, some of these we don't even know that they took place. They don't have to report them, but these are just the ones that we know about. So and there's a lot that, again, that we don't know are even in Boulder right now. So, but there are some players in there. There's a lot of players in there, a lot that the Buffs need. And again, just that edge, looking at those edge players, they're big edges is what I'm saying. And that's what you need in a 3-4 defense. So let's dive into a breakdown, right? I want to talk about that, a breakdown of them. And then again, too, I know that we talk about this. The portal is awesome. There is a place to track it. If you guys go into it is called Transfer Portal Network. If you guys type that in, or even, if you're watching on X, follow me on there. That is your one-stop shop There are so many. It is such a cool tool to use. You don't have to, it'll put grades on there, different analytics that go with it. It is a fantastic tool, one that now I am helping out with, but it is a really, really great tool. It is, go ahead and check that out though, but it is basically where I get a ton of my transfer portal news, find my prospects, and then was just able to connect with the individual who owns it. And, him and I, we talk here and there. So again, check that out. It is fantastic though. So, but let's dive into the signing breakdown. So first one, defensive lineman, Dylan Manuel. So again, Appalachian State, 6'1", 300 pounds, defensive lineman. So he'll be looking at interior defensive line. He had last year 37 tackles, 3 sacks, a Pro Football Focus grade of 80.8, which is really good. Run defense grade of 75.8, pass rush of 69.8. So that is, and again, those are pretty good. And again, I'm pretty excited for Dylan Manuel. Seems like a really good kid and a good player. And again, I'm really excited for him. I like these signings, better than the the glamorous signings that they had last year. It didn't go over well. Yeah, Humble Texan says, who's bankrolling the Buffs roster? Yeah. Man. Yeah, I don't know. I have an idea, but I don't know a ton about it, but I think I know kind of where it's coming from at this point. But I have to do a little bit more digging and asking around, but I think I have a pretty good idea of what's happening with the Buffs roster and where they're getting this money from. So, but yeah, stay tuned on that. I can confirm that at some point, hopefully. Now let's look into so our next guy. So DB Nathan Mitchell out of New Mexico State. So 5'10", 175 pounds. He had 58 solo tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions. His PFF grade overall is 67.8, coverage grade of 72.2. So again, this is a really good football player. And again, it is production. Colorado is targeting production. Edge, Balanasama Kamara, University of Albany. So this kid, 6'3", 257 pounds. He had 67 tackles. And so I like this one. 13 and a half were tackles for losses. So our TFLs, that is huge. Cannot overstate that. That is a really, a good trait to have, right? Making a tackle for a loss. 7.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. His Pro Football Focus grade, he had 83.6, run defense grade of 86.2, and a pass rush grade of 81.2. So again, it is production, and look at the size of these edges that they're picking up. 6'3", 257 pounds. Again, it looks like it's possibly a 3-4 defense, right? Because your edges have to be big, right? And then some of these guys that you see that are getting sacks that are a little bit small, those are going to be playing your your edge role. Von Miller, how Von Miller used to play that role. He'd come screaming off the edge. And again, it is cool though, because you have those 2 edges. You never know which one is coming, right? Now what the Buffs need to do though, right? You have to get some linebackers like Demistocles commented above. You got to get some backers though, right? Those 2 middle backers, they have to solidify. They have to solidify that position. That position was not very good this past season, right? We all know that. We all could see it. But that is a position that has to be addressed. So hopefully there is a plan to address it with some high-level players. Domestically, G12 said, to be honest, with Prime back in spring with good health, I think we will look a lot better than last year. I think his surgery affected the team more than advertised. Yeah, and again, it wasn't until last what was it, week 2? Was that week 3 actually against Wyoming when, our friend brought it up. What he brought up was from Wyoming, what is it, 50? Oh, I cannot remember his name, man. But he was talking about it and said, I wonder how much of this is because of Coach Prime's health. And that was that red flag immediately where I was like, man, I do not know why I did not take that into account. But, my understanding is Prime is, and again, which he did say he was going to do, is he is very hands-on this year selecting players. So again, he is back, he's there. And again, I think it'll pay off quite a bit. And yeah, we'll see. I'm excited, but I'm gonna be cautiously optimistic this year a little bit more. I don't want to use the word realistic because the team last year, they had talent. It was just right. You recruit the wrong kind of talent. Those players all had a ton of talent. Again, we do see a shift now. We do see a shift with this, just based off of they're going after production players, right? And again, kind of taking a page out of Indiana's book. So again, just something to keep an eye on. Let me see. Yeah, Ronald 3515 said, "Man, I hope we get that JMU edge rusher Sahir West." Oh man, I gotta look him up. I'm not even. This is like moving so crazy fast this week. There's so many different players. It feels like every 20, 30 minutes there's a new player visiting. I'm gonna have to go check him out. I know that there was who was it? There was that would make it 2 JMU because right now, right, there's Eaglin, I think is his name. And right now, a visitor from where were we talking? The signing of linebacker Emmanuel Izagu from James Madison. So, man, I hope so. I really do hope so. But yeah, I hope we do land him too. I have not seen anything, but again, that could change. I mean, a lot of these players are committing, it's just been a nonstop thing these last few days. Did we get Box Game 22 says, did we get a new DB and wide receiver coach? Yeah, again, the coaching hires don't have to be announced, but I heard there is a new DB coach. Haven't heard a ton on the wide receiver coach. I can ask about that, but I haven't heard a ton about that just yet from the wide receiver. I know DB coach, yes. I don't know who it is though, right? So again, as soon as I find out, you all will find out as well. And again, if you're just joining us, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. And again, there's going to be daily, I'm going to start releasing daily videos that will go out, so if a player signs tonight or whatever it may be, I'll push that out tonight, but just look for them in the mornings. They're not going to be crazy long or anything like that. 5 to 10 minutes. Check that out. Let me see facts. I hear he's a 4.5. Yeah, can't teach speed. Nope. That is something you can't teach, right? You either got it or you don't. They did get there. Are we talking about? Oh, yeah. So this is who you're talking about. Emmanuel Izagu. Yes, they did sign him. 6'3", 245 pounds. And I actually did comment underneath his, entering the portal. This kid, 4.43 40 and a 38-inch vertical. That's crazy numbers, right? So he had 18 tackles last year, 7 tackles for loss, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 2 QB hits. But that 4.43 40, 38-inch vertical, he was a freshman last year. Yeah, the sky's the limit for this kid. So yes, they did. He is listed as a linebacker. I went on to find his PFF grades on PFF, obviously, but they didn't even have anything listed for him, any grades, because I don't think he played enough, took enough snaps. So this is one, like I said, for the most part, this is one that is just a complete athlete at this point, right? And that little bit of film that he does have, right? Still those 18 tackles, 7 tackles for losses, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 2 QB hits. I think that does go a long way, right? This is this kid, and again, this is like you're entering like the freakish realm with the 4.43 40 38-inch vertical at 6'3", 245. And again, this kid, he's a freshman. So he is not done growing yet. But yes, they did get him he is I'm really excited for that. I saw that actually right before the show and commented, is like, holy cow, man, like you gotta be kidding me. Let's see. And then Silos still coaching. I think he's a great coach. Not sure. This thing is just shaking and moving so quickly right now. I will have to check that out though. And then we need that speed for linebacker. I think he will change positions. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I could see him as that outside linebacker role, but I could also see him as that middle linebacker role, right? One of the 2 middles and a 3-4. He is, just an absolute, just freakish talent there, freakish numbers for that big. I don't even know what that would look like, honestly, right? Like a 6'3", 245-pound person running that fast and jumping that high. Like Yeah, you're right. Like you can't register that, right? Yeah, Lionel 3515 says, yeah, look up Sahir West. So let me see if I can check him out real quick. Sahir West. So we'll see what comes Sahir West. James Madison edge, 6'4", 270. So it does fit the bill. Holy cow. Yeah, I'm kind of now interested in his PFF scores. So let me see if I can get those pulled up because that is holy cow. Yeah, 92.6 grade. Let me see if this is right. Yeah, the internet again. I'm using the neighbor's internet, so to log on, I had to text him before the show to see if I could borrow it. Just because the internet's out again, not sure if it's a problem everywhere. You know, everybody that has. Let me see. Everybody that has what is it? Optum fiber. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of my internet. It's something fiber. Let's see. College. Let me see if I can find him. Highest greatest players. He has to be on here. Yeah, Sahir West. So he had 92.6. What is this? That is crazy. In the I think it was a college football game. That is crazy in the playoff game. That is crazy though. That is like, yeah. I hope is he visiting? Do you know? I'm just kind of. This is going to be one that I'm going to follow and check out because that is. Let me see. Sorry, guys. This is taking me a minute, but I really do want to look him up real quick to see if you guys, just to kind of share out a little. Yeah, Sahir West. So here he is right here. Edge, number 15, 6'4", 270 pounds. Geez, class redshirt freshman. So 81.3 defensive grade, run defense grade of 76.8, pass rush grade 79.9. It looks like on the D line, 560 snaps. Again, fits the bill. Just a huge edge. He fits what Colorado wants to do, And again, I don't know what his stats look like, but he had 561 snaps this past year, which again fits that bill of around 500. It's crazy that you do see some of these kids that end up at these schools, right? Like with this kind of talent. Again, there's a reason why James Madison was good this year, right? So, I'm not sure. Hopefully he is visiting. That's my hope now. Now you got me fired up on him, so I might even go see if I can reach out to him a little bit about it. But it looks like so he had sacks. Where's his totals at? 25. Holy cow. Yeah, 7 sacks, 14 tackles for losses. Holy cow. Yeah, I'm hopefully that he gets to Boulder. That would be a huge pickup, right? Man, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm gonna go look into him after the show's done. So thanks for sharing that. Very cool. And then so where were we at? Oh, so next one, running back Jaquil Smith. So I could not find any PFF scores on Sacramento State players. Again, don't know what the issue was, but again, 5'11", 171 pounds. Again, coming over with Brennan Marion. He had 511 rush yards, 5 touchdowns, and averaged 6.7 yards per carry, which really good, right? Obviously. And then let me see. West sounds like perfect replacement for McPherson. Yeah, and production, right? So and again was able to play. James Madison was a playoff team this year. Regardless if they should have been there or not, they were, right. And holy cow, that is I'm really excited for now these James Madison because I'm for our guy. Where's he at? That is visiting Eaglin. Where is he? Let me, I cannot find him now. Our cornerback, Justin Eaglin. So I am really excited for this kid. Again, another James Madison guy. So kind of seems like a trend here. The Buffs are going after these James Madison players, which is good. That was a good program this last year. Wide receiver next, Danny Scudero, San Jose State, 5'9", 174 pounds, a Biletnikoff semifinalist. He had 88 receptions for 1,291 yards and 10 touchdowns this past season. Just if you guys watch the highlights, just a holy cow, this kid can play. He can play. A PFF grade of 74, receiving grade of 74.7. So really excited for him actually. So, and again, I don't know what's going on at San Jose State. They had a Blitnikoff finalist last year. So I can't remember his name, but I remember I wanted my NFL team. So to draft him, Nash, I think is something Nash, but he was a Blitnikoff finalist last year. So just someone wonder what's going on at San Jose State, right? Running back. Next one is running back Damian Henderson, Sac State, 6'2", 210 pounds, 91 carries for 565 yards, 5 touchdowns. He averaged 6.2 yards a carry. So again, it is those high carries. Again, productive players. Next one, edge. 6'2", 240 pounds. He is an edge player. 28 total tackles, 1.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception. So this is the nephew of Aqib Talib. So those of you that are Bronco fans, I know that was brought up, but Aqib Talib's nephew, PFF grade of 79, run defense grade of 74.5, pass rush grade of 68.8. I'm just reading this. Sorry, it has taken a minute to get the comments on, but Lionel 50, hopefully I'm saying that right, 3515 says, we also can't let that linebacker from Bowling Green get away. His middle name is right. I know we're talking about him. Lam, I believe is the last name. What is this for? It's the ESPN thing that's just wild, right? Where is he? Gideon ESPN Lamprin. So from Bowling Green. So that's one that needs to get signed, that we talked about a little bit earlier, but that is a player that needs to get signed for sure. Next one, edge Lamont Lester Jr. Now, this is one that I really like. Monmouth, now he is 6'2", 230 pound in edge, okay? But 37 total tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss, and 9.5 sacks. So 2 forced fumbles as well, PFF grade of 91.4. That is really, really good, right? Run defense of 76.8, but here's where this dude's going to pay off. Pass rush grade of 92.7. This is probably one that you would see line up, for sure. If they do move, in fact, to a 3-4, those outside, which one is coming kind of thing. But this dude is highly productive. This is one that I'm really, really excited for. And I know our friend David Talk Sports, he was on Saturday night, and I commented on it. I was like, dude, like this Lester dude, this is a guy that is going to, he's going to get after the quarterback. This is one of the ones I'm really excited for. Next one is wide receiver Cam Perry out of Miami, Ohio. 5'9", 168 pounds. Last year, 43 receptions, 976 yards, 6 touchdowns, 22.7 yards per catch. And again, if you watch his film, a lot of yak, right? Yards after catch, just a really, really good slot receiver. And that's where you'll probably see him lined up at. He had a 78.1 PFF grade, 78.2 receiving grade. So again, Cam Perry, that is a really good signing. Will be your slot receiver. Really, really, I'm excited to see what he can do. Now, next one, and again, I am butchering some of these names. Edge. Are we talking about Cam Perry? It would be Miami, Ohio. So hopefully, if that's what you're asking, Lionel, what school he's from, Miami, Ohio, if that's who you're talking about. But our next player, edge, Toby. So I cannot. North Dakota State, 6'4", 260 pounds. So 27 tackles, 8.5 TFLs, and 7 sacks. 1 forced fumble. He had a PFF grade of 83.7. Run grade of 68.4. Pass rush grade 90.1. So again, it's going back to these snaps. These snaps are key for these players. It is, I don't even know the right word. It is basically, this is where the Buffs, Coach Prime said they have to be productive, and all of these players so far have a lot of film on them. And last one, Emmanuel Zogi, we already talked about him, but these players have to be productive. It looked like they needed around that 500 snap mark. It is just, I'm happy with this portal class so far. They are going to have to get some heavy hitters here in soon, right? Like your DeAndre Moore, CJ Baxters. But again, these are if Colorado has lived and died in the portal these last few years since prime, right? The prime era. And again, maybe this is just kind of who they are. And again, production, right? They chased some names last year in the portal and didn't translate to the field. So, lesson learned, they're pivoting and moving on to some different players, right? Some more productive players rather than the stars. So I think so far, portal's off to a great start. Again, not every, commitment signing is going to be a huge, home run swing, this or that. You'll probably see some guys coming in from, bigger universities that are more developmental guys as well, because they do have a roster to fill out, right? We do know that there was, again, at one point, Pecco was the only defensive lineman on scholarship. The linebacking room pretty much gutted, I think. I don't even think they had a linebacker on scholarship. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I was looking at it a couple weeks ago when everybody started jumping in. But I think that defense is the place where they're going to need a ton of help. As well as, receiver, I think they're going to get more. CJ Baxter, they'll be good at running back, right? Especially with the couple Sac State kiddos coming in. And then, start building that cornerback room. They're going to need a couple safeties, linebackers, and then you got to build that defensive line out. So, I think a lot of the focus is going to be on the defensive side of the ball. So, and again, it should be the defense struggled last year. And then you build those trenches up. That's how you win football games, right? If you win in the trenches, you're gonna win a lot of football games, especially in college, right? And you have Julian Lewis back there, just gonna win a lot of football games there. And you give that kid some time to throw the football, he is gonna light you up, right? And that was those games that we saw him play, those were extremely impressive for Julian Lewis. Sky's the limit for him. Like we talk about, throughout the season. I know I was calling for him like week 2, 3. It was just time to let that era begin with the Julian Lewis era. So, but yeah, that's what so far is what it looks like is what we're doing. What the Buffs look like in the portal. I'm happy with it so far. Real happy with it so far, but again, they're going to have to get a couple heavy hitters in. They're going to have to write some of those big name transfer players with production. They're going to have to get some of those guys in. Let me see. Mr. Crunk for Christ says, "Do you think we can have a successful season with getting all guys from smaller schools and not any productive guys from the Power Four?" Yes, yes, I do, but I do think that they are at some point, right? You're going to have to start getting those heavy hitters is what I mean by that, a minute ago. But the heavy hitters, you're going to have to start getting some guys from some of these Power 4 schools, right? Maybe a linebacker or corner, whatever. They're going to have to start landing some of those guys as well with production. Again, you don't want to end up, like a player like Jaheim Otis. And again, I wish him nothing but the best, but which he signed at Ole Miss for. By the way, if you guys did not see that, he just a stars, right? Star chasing. It was that was tough, right? With Jaheim Otis last year, just not a lot of conversation around work habits, right? Those kind of things, and just can't happen. So yes, but I think with these big time players though, like the Power 4, you have to be extremely smart on them. You have to have done your homework on every single one of those players, whether that be reaching back out to high school coaches, whatever position coaches, whatever it may be, teammates, whatever it may be. You got to figure that out quickly because you do not want to miss on the big time players. This time around, again, it cost you a lot last year. Right? Cost them a lot of games last year. Humble Texan says, "I keep reminding myself to trust the process. It's easy to get caught up in panic." It is. It really is. I know last week, oh man, I was pretty starting to get a little upset, right, with all the players entering, your Carde Smiths, Amarian Millers, Tawfiq Bayards, right? I was starting to get pretty upset with it and just like, man, this is right. And the one that hurt the London Merit, that one was, man, yeah, I wasn't ready for that one. But, I think just trust the process here, trusting Coach Prime, he'll get this figured out. I'm sure of it. But right, just trust the process a little bit. Yeah, Mr. Crunk for Christ says, I think we need to at least get 5 or 6 productive guys from Power Four conferences. Yeah, I would say you probably need to get, at each level. I would say right on defense, and then you're probably going to need 1 or 2 on the offensive line. So right, and that's that 5 or 6. But again, some of these other guys, right, from your James Madisons, New Mexico States, they can still play. And again, I am curious to see how this does translate, right? It is it's a lot of the FCS players, right? And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I am really excited for a lot of these players that we got, and again, it's in the business of recruiting, right? We look at On3, we look at 24/7 sports, right? We look at all these different rivals, and it's just stars, right? At the end of the day, and the way that a lot of those are made through relationships, right? And again, dabbling in that business a little bit with our own recruiting, at the Voice of College Football. Yeah, some of it is based on who gets an interview, who they're talking to, those kind of things. The star system. So, and again, recruiting stars doesn't always equal, national championships or success. I'd be lying if I said that, the top teams that normally win it do have a lot of really good players, right? Stars. But again, it is, they're going to end up with your 4 and 5 stars, ending up with the best recruiting classes. But there are a lot of players that do go, right, not noticed, right? That are not noticed and are very productive. And maybe they played at a smaller school in high school. But again, a lot of these players that Colorado has targeted outside of the one have tons of snaps and tons of experience, playing time, right? So it is. I'm curious to see how this does work out, though. And again, I'm not really nervous so much about the offense, if that makes sense, but more worried about what the defensive end of the ball looks like, because that defense was tough last year. That was rough to watch. They couldn't tackle. Was going through some more PFF grades today of Colorado's defense today, and it was holy cow, it was not good. So just kind of curious now what this is going to look like. So I am curious, but I do hope they sign a couple more 5 to 6, like you said, maybe a few more than that. Some heavy hitter players, those from Power 4 conferences. So, and again, the right guys, as we've talked about. So but yeah, no, that's it for tonight's show. Again, be on the lookout tomorrow for the show. Or not the show, sorry, a couple videos that I'm gonna try to start posting every morning now. So please follow along there. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, to get notified. New video comes out. But again, I'm sure some things will go down tonight. And again, these are not going to be these crazy long hour videos, 5 to 10 minutes. Just kind of talk about news and notes. I believe too, I missed one earlier. I believe the Buffs hired a new coach. Where did I see it? Yeah, I want to make sure, but Coach Niblett is joining Coach Prime in Colorado's tight end coach. So again, there's that one. So we'll talk a little bit more on that. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be some more commits tonight. I'm sure there was probably one during the show. So stay tuned. Again, make sure to like, subscribe, hit, turn notifications on. But yeah, every morning something's going to come out. And again, I do appreciate you guys joining us. Make sure to give me a follow on X at Manny_303, IG at 303_Manny. Those watching right now on X, go give me a follow. I trying to, get a little more information, things like that. And, start tweeting out recruits, those kind of things. But yeah, make sure to give me a follow on X as well. Like the show. And then catch me on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon. And there's a new one, right? It's Believe. So yeah, I have a hard time, but I'm going to post it in here. But if you go look, the show is now on there as well. Just go to the website, search for Voice of Colorado at the Voice of College Football. Again, this is the channel, but Colorado at the Voice of College Football, and check that out. Again, do appreciate you guys. We will, we'll see how this week goes, but check out the videos as they get released every single every single day that they'll be released and something new that takes place. But again, have a great rest of your week. We will catch you guys, at some point, maybe go live again if we get some earth shattering news or whatever it may be. But yeah, just do appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your week. And again, as always, do appreciate you guys.